I thought that we have very great people. Stephen Asamoah Boateng is one person. He served in the Kufuor administration. And I even thought that at the beginning of the Kufuor administration, he would serve as a minister. And then Brian Champon coming in, Obi Amwa, also a good minister. One. Yeah. These individuals should have replaced people in the administration, in a cut down of the numbers. Right. Because if you look at what the individual bondholders did say and the justification that they made for a reduction, they did say that.
She said, so we are elective politics. So we need to let her go. Yes. Call.
Please go.
So we are elective.
Okay,
so,
bye-bye.
Judith, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And like Roland said, we would invest in some brooches as well. I've got some good ones. I'll hook you up. Girl, I'm going to hook you up, all right?
Sure.
But your black and white is beautiful. Have yourself a great day.
Yeah.
Yeah, Roland, continue.
And I thought that we should have seen a cut down in the ministerial portfolios. And these individuals who I think that even key individuals in the MPP were expecting to already should have been in government, apart from, let's say, Brian Champon, who was in a portfolio, as well as the deputy local government minister who is or was dropped, who is now also a substantive minister now, Obi Amwa. We should have seen them substantively occupying positions for them to bring their experience to bear, because Brian Champon is a no-holds-barred, strong personality. You could see that he has a lot of affiliations within the party. A lot of people he endears himself to a lot of people. And I thought that in a cut-down ministerial portfolio or a size, he would have been somebody who would bring a lot of gravitas. Obi Amwa brings a lot of experience. He's somebody who maintains a cool head. He's somebody who has great experience, especially in local government, etc. He's a legal practitioner, of course, an experienced member of parliament, but he's someone who uses that assertiveness, but also that level of dexterity, and does things in his own way in a very calm manner to be able to bring change and improve on things. And Stephen Asamoah Boateng is a reformist, man. Anyway. That gentleman. And I think the president did us no good by just doing these replacements. Right. These are good people.
Okay.
But they are adding up to a bloated number.
Okay, so before you even get to that, guys, hold on a second. So let's just go over all these new replacements and
refresh our minds.
Yes, that's taking place now. As required by the 1992 Constitution, of course, the president has written to the Speaker of Parliament, informing him of the new changes in government on Tuesday, February 7. Now, these persons have been appointed while other ministers have been reshuffled to other ministries. So let's take it one by one. First one is Member of Parliament for Adanse Asokwa, K.T. Hammond. He's been appointed Minister Designate for Trade and Industry. So that's the very first one. Second one is Member of Parliament for Abetifi, Brian Champon. He's been appointed Minister Designate for Food and Agriculture. Number three is a Member of Parliament for Karaga, Mohammed Amin Adam, who was stationed at the Energy Ministry as Deputy Minister, who's now been given a new post as Minister of State at the Finance Ministry. So this is the guy who's replacing Charles Edu Boahen. Number four, Stephen Asamoah Boateng. He's been appointed Minister Designate for Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs. Number five on the list, Herbert Krapper, who was Deputy Minister at the Trades Ministry. Well, he's been moved to the Energy Ministry now as Deputy Minister Designate for Energy. He replaces Mohammed Amin Adam. Number six, Dr. Stephen Amwa, a.k.a. Sticker, everybody calls him Sticker. If you follow your politics, then you know who Sticker is. He's now the Deputy Minister Designate for Trade and Industry to replace Herbert Krapa. Number 7 on the list is Member of Parliament for Ikuapem South, Osebonsu Amwan, who's been appointed Minister of State at the Local Government and Rural Ministry. So these are the changes that are taking place. The President has written to Parliament. He's written to the Speaker informing him of these new changes. But yes, Roland, I'm sure these guys are going to go through vetting. Will there be any vetting, or this is a done deal?
No, they'll go through vetting.
They'll go through vetting.
So as it is, if you're
Right.
deputy minister and moving to a ministerial portfolio substantively, you will be vetted. And then because some of them hadn't occupied any ministerial position at
Right,
all, they will
right.
also be vetted.
Okay.
So all of them,
All right.
you look at the numbers. I'm happy for Sticker. I think what doesn't
The last
help
I
him.
remember of him was that crying that he cried.
Yeah, okay. So what doesn't help him is all the videos on the internet about how he was communicating. But we have to be realistic. He was communicating on behalf of the party.
Of the MPP.
You know.
Yeah.
But he's a very strong personality. He comes to that position with a strong background in finance, actuarial science, financial engineering, and things like that. And I think that he's going to bring the knowledge to bear. The difficulty, however, with deputy ministers within the constitutional arrangement we have had since 1992 is that they tend to play second fiddle to a main or a substantive minister.
Right.
So based on personal relationship with some deputy ministers, either in this administration or in past administrations, you get to find that they'll tell you, look, this is what my minister wanted, you know, even though you would essentially or entirely know the capacity of that minister or deputy minister better or even above his main substantive minister, but he has no option than to follow what the main minister says.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Now, many of you have been reacting to the new changes, if you want to call it reshuffling, whatever it is that you want to call it. Many of you have been reacting, and one such person is Professor Jampo at the University of Ghana. He's been speaking, and this is the way he describes the new mini reshuffling by Nanado. Take a listen.
People are asking for major reshuffles. Reshuffle in a manner that affects his own cousin, the finance minister. Generally, he has not done, I've seen the list. He's not done reshuffle. What he has done is to fill vacant spaces that have been created in government. And my argument is that filling vacant spaces in government is not coterminous with reshuffle. No. And the intransigence on the part of the president about calls for reshuffle, in my view, is quite snobbish and is quite disrespectful to the people of Ghana and serves as a severe affront to the expression of dissent. And it is being perpetuated or led by a president in whom we used to be well pleased in terms of his pedigree in promoting democratic advancement. And this is the president who, per his refusal to listen to dissenting voices, is now being seen, in my view, as a severe affront to the expression of dissent. Now, if you make your calls, public opinions make calls, they make recommendations, they make suggestions, they criticize, and you say all these things, and you look at the president's posture, that suggests that you can say it all you care, but I'm not going to mind you. Then it means you are telling us that we should shut up because who cannot cry anymore, who mind you? And so that is a severe affront to the expression of dissent. Historically, those who have done so well in manning our agricultural sector have been people who have military background, and perhaps their operational mindset, may have helped them in excelling in manning that sector. So if you look at Colonel Benasco, if you look at Commodore Steve Obimpe, if you look at Major Courage Kwashiga, they all had military background and they succeeded as agricultural ministers. And have confidence in Brene Champong also as somebody who has a military background and with that kind of operation mindset, I'm sure he will succeed. But the rest, I don't have confidence in them. I don't think they'll be able to add anything to what is going on.
And that's the professor of political science at the University of Ghana, Professor Ransford Jampo, commenting on the new reshuffle that's been addressed to the Speaker of Parliament by the President of Ghana, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo.
Yeah.
Your comments?
So if you read the sentiment across social media, is that, well, a ministerial reshuffle by the President, Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo, was long overdue.
Right.
And then, especially in the times that we find ourselves, it was rather a cutting down of the numbers.
That we wanted, right?
So we wanted new faces.
Right.
You cut down the numbers.
Right.
And then you try to collapse some ministerial portfolios, whether they are based at the presidency, etc., because of cost reasons and their impact on budgetary spending, to enable them drive a ministerial policy or a government policy.
Okay.
And so while, well, there will be many who will think that because they are closer to some of these individuals, well, at least they also have a position. We are not in a time where you have to think that your godfather or a big person within the party should just have a position. And that is where the problem is. The president has failed to send a signal to the local market as well as the international community that he really means business with the way the expectation is in cutting down on the ministers. Well, great people, they should have come way longer or way earlier. And then also the size of the government per what the analysts are. And if you look at what the expenditure patterns have been, should have been reduced. Look, it is not just enough to say that we have only 85 ministers and among all of them, they may spend not much money, etc. But sometimes the optics, what you do aesthetically, you get to send the signals to the international organization, multilateral donors and partners. It is significant, especially in these times where the finance minister is giving us a run for our money by deciding to be in a position because the president, who is the appointing authority per what the constitution states, keeps him there while he's the one who is not managing the public purse as he should. So the one rather who should have been or is being clamored to be reshuffled or to be changed is still there, and we're having replacements being made instead of cutting down on the size of government. And I think that while individuals who have been just named among these 4 or 5 are competent based on what they've been able to do in the past or what they are expected to do, these are not the times that we have to say that, well, we're giving people positions and they are supposed to implement policy. What type of policy? Already, there had been concerns prior to the reading of the 2023 financial statement or the budget in November last year that some key intervention or policies that were introduced by Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo as President of the Republic when he came in 2017 should at least have been put on hold. Apart from free SHS and a couple of them, many of them should have been put on hold because of the difficulties we're in. Now the finance minister, for how many times? Is this the 6th time?
This is the 6th time.
Is now...
No, 5th time.
Okay,
yeah.
5th time.
5th time.
No, he gave the first one, so
yes.
maybe we're not counting that one.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
all
so
right.
maybe we're not counting that one. But you count subsequently, you will find that we're in a position where the finance minister keeps shifting the goalposts as far as the date of giving the deadline for domestic debt restructuring. It doesn't give a certain signal that he's somebody who is telling you that he knows what he says he's doing. And before you implement a policy, you should have undertaken comprehensive, if not thorough engagement of key stakeholders within a certain sector or constituency for which you intended implementing that sector. And one of the things that have been raised against the Finance Minister, Ken Ofori-Atta, and the government of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, who also heads the economic management team, is that they have not shown through the budget statement that was read in November that they were ready to cut down costs also show that they are also ready to burden share. Because you're telling individual bondholders who, you look at the summations, are holding bonds in the tune of some 15 billion, and excessively 33% of exposure of our commercial banks, and subsequently individuals as well as firms being 25%,
Right.
who have been exposed to the current difficulties we're facing as a country. And now you are saying that the one who is being blamed, who should take the flag, is still there. He talks soft, wears white, quotes the Bible, and he's still there. He's being mistrusted or distrusted by these key individuals, the institutions that are involved, and you bring in good people instead of putting them in a position where you might or you should have cut down your government. I don't know what type of signal that the president wants to send. He just hasn't sent the right sort of signals, in my opinion.
I am not sure what it is. But I in particular want to understand the difference between the Minister of Finance, Ken Ofori-Atta, and then this portfolio. It beats my mind. Minister of State at the Finance Ministry. Such as a...
Well, so you know that position.
So it's two positions.
Okay, so you know Charles Edubuahin was occupying the position as a deputy minister. Then subsequently
he became Minister of State in charge of finance. I don't understand.
So subsequently, for many of the people I know who have worked as ministers of state at the presidency,
right.
I think they are involved in some policy reformulation or perhaps the way they undertake.
Which the finance minister doesn't do.
Exactly. So that brings the question. You have a finance minister, you have a deputy, you have people who are presidential advisors, ministerial advisors on finance. We have a whole lot of people.
So then why do we
at the
have
finance ministry?
The duplicates?
Exactly. So what are they doing? And so that is why you needed to send the sign, the signal that, look, I'm ready to cut costs. It is not just because that the intention is you want to cut costs. You want to send a certain signal to the market that I'm ready to, look, what the academics have said, those who have monitored the international institutions, especially those in the Bretton Woods institutions, have said is, if the finance minister was given a sack long ago,
right.
it would have given a certain signal, just like the way the United Kingdom did,
right.
you know,
right.
by sacking Kwesi Kwarteng and a number of those finance ministers or secretaries, that, look, they were in a position to make a decision to tell their stakeholders. And the stakeholders are big investors, corporate entities, those who are externally investing in your country, those who are buying your bonds, etc., those who hold your bonds, that you have to do an external debt restructuring with, that I'm ready to play ball, I'm ready to send a man before you who will give you a certain confidence. So far, the finance minister has supervised over a ministry for which his policy implementation and actions have been poor. They have led us to the worst downgrade we have ever seen since 1993, the Fourth Republic.
Right.
And not only that, we have no space to go and borrow. Our debt to GDP ratio is the worst we've ever seen in the Fourth Republic. This has been supervised by Ken Ofori-Atta, the finance minister. If somebody needs to be replaced, it should be Ken Ofori-Atta. It's a very simple analogy that if you make references to what the academics have been saying, especially Professor Lord Mensah, you take Bright Simmons, you take many of them, Professor Buckpin, Professor Jampo, all of them, even Ken Thompson with Dayless Finance, as well as Joe Jackson, you know, and then our own Alfredo Kanse, Pakwesi. These are the things that, because you pick signals from individuals, corporate entities, and we all say, well, we're closer. When we're here, we give shout-outs to our so-called big men, right?
Yeah.
So Kojo Daniels, Godwin Tamaklo, who are, etc., Mark Dan, Sianwe Japan. What they tell you is, Papano Nkoye. You know, so when you have key individuals that you interact with in private, not necessarily going by the names that have been mentioned, but just talking about how they're big investors or entrepreneurs, telling you that Adienu Nkoya.
Yeah.
And then externally, he doesn't seem to have the trust of the stakeholder community. Then
it's a problem.
I don't know why the president seems to be someone who feels that he knows what he's doing.
The reasons are best known to the president.
Well, but so far the policy interventions have made even some of the ministers who ideally were supposed to be doing well, like the one I always say is my favorite, Dr. Yawase Duchum, to be seen to be not to be in good stead. But Charlie, and the way the president seems to be doing it, I don't know. Maybe he's seeing something that the international community is seeing.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
That they are seeing that he's not seeing.
That's what I'm saying. Maybe he sees something that we are not seeing.
No,
so let's keep the conversation going. Hashtag is TV3Newday. Let me quickly give you our phone numbers. Okay, no, we are not actually opening the phone number. Guys, please provide the WhatsApp number on screen so we can receive comments about this. Hashtag is TV3Newday on all our social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, everywhere. Tweet at us, write to us, let us know what your thoughts are on the new reshuffle by our sitting president. Johnny's Bite is coming in no time. But Roland, in actual sense, today is exactly 5 years